Guys, welcome back to another video. For you guys that do not know who I am, my name is Gino Palumba. I'm a real estate wholesaler that started back in 2018 when I was 19 years old. Now, in the last 3 years, we broke over 7 figures in wholesaling gross profits every single year, from 1.8 million in 2022 to 2.2 in 2022, and last year in 2023, just around $2.3 million in wholesale fees. Right. So what I'm going to do today, guys, is I'm going to show you in a video I made, and I'm going to link it in here. I made about 2 years ago on what a business that was making 6 figures a month, which is still the case now, what a business making 6 figures a month looks like in wholesaling real estate. Now, this is what we call an accountability chart, as you can see up here for our company, Ferocity Assets. The accountability chart is not necessarily an org chart, which some of you guys might know, organizational chart. What it is a chart showing who is accountable for each of these squares. Accountable, not necessarily doing the work every day, but who's accountable. Okay. So very important also to mention here that, this varies by people, where you're at, and obviously what kind of company you have. This is a wholesaling company. We market in Georgia, Texas, and North Carolina. Now, Dallas, Fort Worth to be specific in Texas, and Raleigh, Durham in North Carolina, and Metro Atlanta in Georgia. Now, we spent about 85 grand a month in the last 2 months in marketing. Last month, we did over 31 contracts, and that's our biggest month ever. Usually we're around 20 to 22. So just to give you a little background again on me, and this is how the company's set up and how we're set to function. I want to go in today about, what the job role entails on a very high level, or else we can get very granular here and be a 3-hour long video. And also where compensation is. Now, I don't, for the sake of the people on my team, not going to expose exactly what they get paid, but I'll give you an idea and a gist of, the structure of their payment. Okay. So let's start off at the top right now. Visionary CEO is me. Okay. Now my job is to come in with big relationships, find money, research and development, R&D, bring big ideas, and more importantly, lead the team. Be the best leader I can, which I struggle with, like any good leader. I would hope, my team would say I'm a good leader, but like any good leader, I'm not perfect, right? I'm constantly trying to read on more books, trying to let my team do more of the autonomy, not get involved, right? Now, that is hard because you see the second one here, I'm also the COO. Now, I've had COOs in the past, multiple, or two, I shouldn't say multiple, but two. But currently right now, I am the COO. So that's where it's also hard for me to give autonomy to some of my directors when a COO's job is to lead and direct the directors below them and be able to hold them accountable. And so if I'm doing both, it's definitely not the best thing. And that's why I'm working my way out of that. Already got some people in mind that are going to take this over. But the job of the integrators, checking P&L, solve the growth problem, find the constraints in the business. What is the biggest lever if we were able to, discover it and solve that problem, the biggest problem? Which one of those, or what is it, and how can I go do that to where we can make the most revenue if we solve that problem? As you can see here, they're in charge of hiring, firing, onboarding, HR, and all that good stuff here. But the most important thing is to lead the directors below them as a COO and give them all the resources need. Give them all the money, all the training. I don't want to say money, but give them all the training, allocate them a budget so they can have their team growing and constantly motivated. So, again, very important is just the COO to hold the team accountable underneath them, those directors that are underneath them. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the first department. Again, just to recap, I'm the CEO and the COO currently. Thankfully, I have very good directors. Have 5 directors that are very, very good, so that I'm not pulling too much. They're kind of acting like their own COOs right now, which is a temporary thing because I'm giving them a lot of autonomy still because I'm used to that as a CEO. And so I'm trying not to get too involved in their stuff, which, again, I'm not very good at. But anyway, let's hop over to marketing again, talk about exactly where you're at. Now, obviously, visionary, before we do that, and the CEO, I get paid based on the company profits. The CEO, how I would set it up, right? I would, depending on the level, and this is where it gets intricate here. This is why I don't have someone here right now. So this is probably, they're going to be the only one that we spend a little bit more time on how I would compensate or what the compensation is. Depending on first off, you don't need a COO starting out. Everyone that says that is wrong, and I'm not going to make the video about this. You don't need a COO starting out. If anything, you could just use an executive assistant from overseas to run all your minute details and hold the team accountable. Just a really good executive assistant to start out. Now, what I look at in here and what I've done in the past for COO, that's what we'll just talk about. I won't go into what I, really go deep into it. But what I've done in the past is a base and some profit split. Okay. Base and profit split does not mean they're an owner of the company, no equity, but they get profit split. Now, it would increase based on their goals if they were hit every quarter, as well as if some point, if it's really high, got to a certain percentage, they would get a full profit split and no base. Okay. So profit split, again, it's not equity, net income split, but it is the same in terms of the amount, right? So plus profit split's 30,000 and they have 30% ownership of a company, they're getting the same amount of money, except now you as a CEO don't have to worry about, adding them to the LLC. And, the company's not even, wholesale company's not even sellable. So like being on the LLC is not even that valuable, right? But now you just pay them every month as an employee, which they are, and just paying them the same percentage, whether they own the company 30% or the profit split's 30%. It's the same without all the strings attached, right? So I would suggest doing that way, profit split. Now let's work our way over here to marketing. Oh, when I got a little bit excited. Work our way over to marketing. Our marketing direct now is Adam Stelly. He's in charge of, obviously, lead generation, websites, brand management, split testing, processes, and SOPs for marketing, and then hiring, firing within his team, right? So Stelly right now, it's a director. He's on a base, and all my directors really do have incentives. So he's on a base pay, and then his incentives are, based on how many new leads and net leads he can get into our system. Net leads are people that just confirm. New leads get sent to start there. New leads are just people that raise their hand in our marketing, right? We do SMS, cold call, mail, and we pay per leads, PPL. Spend about 85 grand, like I mentioned right now, currently, on that per month. And within that, anyone that says yes, they want to sell, they get pushed into our Salesforce, our CRM. And from that point on, if we get in touch with them, and the lead manager gets in touch with them, they come into the CRM, right? They say they want to sell. As soon as we get them on a phone, a lead manager gets them on the phone, they become a net lead, which just means someone that we've confirmed wants to sell a property, right? Because sometimes we get SMS leads that you'll call and you'll get a hold of them. They're like, I didn't really want to sell. I was just seeing what you guys were doing. So like, that's not a net lead for us. So again, Stelly's job is to get as many new leads and net leads based on his goal for the quarter. If he achieves that, he gets an additional additional bonus there, right? I would picture a marketing director for your company. This is where we can go down a rabbit hole again, but depending on what level you're at, should be at least a high 5-figure earner. Now, I also kind of challenge you because I know some buddies that are doing like $6 million a year in this business of wholesaling, and they pay a Filipino to be the marketing director. Since our company is not like a Coca-Cola, Pepsi, a pest control company where, marketing our name out is super, I would say, or like Coca-Cola, right? They're running marketing ads. Like they're got to come up with these intricate plans. Like, look, we're lead generation. It's not as much marketing for our company. Like we're not marketing ferocity assets as much. It's marketing more for lead generation. And so I feel like if you have a really good virtual assistant too, a marketing person that knows data, and specifically like because we deal with so much data and how we're targeting people through list and even mailing people, how we're doing that strategically through data, I think you would have just as good a success like my buddies are doing right now with a Filipino that they pay like 40 grand a year. But that's against the point. If you got a full-time American, I think high 5-figure job. Okay, let's go over his departments here. Hopefully these are all updated. I'm trying to find the bar to scroll. Give me a second. Found the bar. SMS. So on an SMS team, right below Stelly, he has a junior, like you say, marketing director or a data admin, and that is Marian. Marian used to be a marketing director, but she now handles all SMS data, SMS team, like you see here. She's accountable for it. Again, it's not that she's doing it with 3 people that are texters. And as you can see down here, it says 5 people here, but it's really 3 now. So she's ahead of the SMS team, SMS marketing. She's accountable for the results there. It's not Stelly. Now, Stelly's accountable for the whole team. If I go to Stelly, it's going to talk to him about why is SMS down? Why is our leads and SMS down? But he's then going to go to Marion, and so Marion's going to be accountable and say, Marion, why are we not there? Right? Stelly's going to ask her that. Now, again, she's in charge of setting campaigns. You can read this, right, guys? Follow up, new data, templates, texting, onboarding. Right? Underneath her, we have a copywriter, full-time copywriter. Since if you guys know with SMS texting, it's constantly being changed, constantly being regulated, but more importantly, you constantly have to be changing templates so the carriers don't block you, like AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. They don't block you. I don't think Sprint's a thing anymore, but T-Mobile, whatever, right? So they don't block you. They don't block your messages. So that's what Melanie does here. It's an hourly, pay her hourly for her work, and it's about, I think, $6 to $8 an hour. Marion as well, she's on a base for her job, and that's to be doing – yeah, she's on a base for her job. That's I don't quite remember right now, but it is a base job, but it's not as much as obviously Stelly's. Still 5-figure earning, of course. Texters to get paid hourly as well, anywhere from I think $6 to $8 is I believe. So yeah, $6 to $8 and texters hourly rate, normal VA rate. Next is cold call. Stelly's accountable for cold calling. We don't have a cold call director, but Stelly's accountable, but we use a third-party company. And if you're interested in using them, they're from Egypt. Not the highest quality leads, I tell everyone, but it's just like our SMS. They get people that want to sell their home into our system. That's all that matters to me. They commit to 2 a week. It's not Call Geek. It's actually Call Geek, for you guys know that Carlos and Sal's company. They use this company. They white labeled this company. It's not Call Geek, but it's Cold Call. But they manage this company. I forgot the exact name because I don't handle it. But if you're interested, leave a comment down below. I believe they're only like $5.5, $6 an hour for cold callers there. They're from Egypt, like I mentioned. Data manager, Marion, like we said, we have a bunch of data. I mean, we're sending about still 20,000+ texts a day out. So she's got to constantly be skip tracing new lists, pulling the best data, going back and recycling data, doing all that work. And like I said, she gets a base on her time. Stelly's CRM marketing, he is accountable for that. So there's marketing within our CRM, like we retarget all the sellers. Like I said, with mail, drip campaigns, lead quality control, he's constantly looking through the new leads he pushed in the CRM and seeing if they became net leads and why they didn't, right? So he's kind of working along with the lead management, which we'll hit next. Inbound marketing, mail is really our big inbound marketing. We do have PPL in here now. So I'm working with this, I'm updating as we go, but his job is to manage the companies that run our mail and that run our PPL. PPL is just pay per lead. You pay for like a PPC lead from another company. Examples of them are need to sell my house fast, motivated sellers. These are companies that sell you leads. So he's in charge of that. Seller site makes sense, right? It's our seller site. We got 3 different ones because of our 3 different areas we market. Okay, so going over marketing is our biggest department, really. Well, I shouldn't say biggest, but one of the biggest. Next, we got LM, lead management for you guys, right? For us, a lead comes in. We have a lead manager qualify that lead. Is that person really wanting to sell their home? If they do, and they have motivation, they set them up to an appointment for an acquisitions. If they don't, they're just testing the market, saying, hey, I want to sell. Maybe I want to sell, Then, and only then, do they get put on a follow-up for a lead manager only. They never get an offer. The people are just wasting time. Okay, so Jordan, again, he's a director. He gets a pay, and also he's a working director, which means that he's also a lead manager himself. So our lead managers get 5% of all their deals at close. They also get a base. They get a base that's anywhere from, it's about $2,000 to $2,500 a month. But in Jordan's case, he doesn't get that. He gets a little more as being an LM director, but he also gets commission on his deals. So, like I said, we have about 7 people here that are underneath them that are setting up appointments. Again, those people, like I mentioned, they get a base and 5% of all the deals. Jordan's in charge of sales training. First, let's talk about appointment set and sales training efficiency, right? Sales training, his job is to come up with stuff every week and that he needs to be trained on. They got 3 trainings a week, right? And every day they have a huddle and an afternoon huddle. Morning huddle is recapping yesterday's numbers, KPIs, how many appointments did they set, how many calls, how many conversations, all that good stuff. I made another video on that in the past on my channel. But his job is to go over those in the first 5 minutes. Next 15 minutes, they discuss what they're going to do today to hit their goal of at least a couple appointments. I actually don't even know what it is right now. Since I've been out of it, but it's either 1 or 2 appointments a day. And then the next, 10, 15 minutes of the 30 minutes probably takes them about 5 minutes to recap yesterday, 10 minutes to talk about today, what they're going to do, and 15 minutes is a role play on a certain part of the script that maybe some other person needs help with or an issue they're getting. An issue from the day before they heard from a seller. So constantly training, constantly developing the team, and not just, hey, let's meet once a week. They meet every day. And then on top of that, they have an hour-long training set at least 2 to 3 times a week. Again, their job, set appointments, build rapport, appointment attendance, vetting the leads. That's the most important thing to lead manager, right? That's why they're here. They're here to manage leads, but get these leads up and going. Here's some of the lists they hit. Pending appointments, free for all, hot and cold, working less than 7 to 21 days, new inbound calls, new leads, right? I won't go into it. Like I said, I've done in other videos, but that's their job. And speed of lead, Jordan's efficiency training, making sure we get to these leads within 5 minutes or else we lose our chances at them. So again, that's Jordan. Next department, Marcus over here, AM. So these are the guys that give the offers. These are the ones that negotiate with the sellers about price and lock them up. So we got 5 currently people there, but starting with Marcus, he's also a working director. So he does get his own commission on deals, but he's trying to get out of that so that he can be full-time director. But right now, again, he gets commission on his deals. He has a base as well. And then also he gets a bonus based on the monthly contract goal, right? If he exceeds it, he's going to get a bonus. I mean, that's what he should get, right? Last month we did 31 when the last month the biggest month before that was 23. So if we just, obviously he got incentivized to do that, and hopefully he does it again and again and again. So, and that's my job as CEO, to make sure he does it again and again and again and gets rewarded for that. So again, their job is to complete appointments, get pictures, set up pictures. I should probably clarify so when you guys read this, you can see it. Set up pics, contracts, build rapport, estimate repairs, follow up. The big thing here is this. This is the number one thing. I mean, we bold this: contracts. They got to get contracts, right? That's their goal. Again, Marcus is accountable for deal analysis because he's going to vet everybody when they run their comps. But the reality is AMs help each other out. If I'm taking an appointment, an AM on our team will then send it over to the AM group chat and say, hey, can you guys comp this? So they can get mentally prepared for the meeting while the other AMs comp it for them. And they just insert the market value. And me as the AM, I would just insert the market value and I get all my max allowable offers or MAOs. Now, going into acquisition managers, they get paid commission only. Now, they do have when you start up, they do have a draw where they make a minimum amount a month. But at the end of the day, they're commission only. About 10% is what we pay our guys. Opportunity management's another thing they do, right? Of course, offer calls, negotiations. This is all their list they have, pending appointments. They don't really even have a free-for-all hot anymore. They got a free-for-all cold. But everything they have is their goal is to lock it up, right? They're following up with pending appointments for us, which are appointments that never showed up, priority hots, negotiations that people we know want to sell in 7 days. They'll put them on their negotiation list. Survey calls. I have a whole video on that. We won't go into that on this call. Call quality control. Marcus, he listens to almost every call that the AM does. That's why he's the director, of course, and that's why he gets incentivized as a director too, is that he's listening to make sure there's anything going wrong or anything they could fix not live on the call, but as soon as possible so that he can catch anything. And in sales training, similar to Jordan, they meet every day, the same format, in the morning and afternoon, and or every, I think, other afternoon, because the AMs have 3 hours a week, 1 hour Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, where they do sales training. And I don't know for sure if they change the dates up, but either way, I know 100% sure it's 3 hours a week, 3 different sessions, where one of them in the past, for example, we've done an hour of comping session. There's an hour of listening to each other's calls. All 5 people, all the 5 AMs are on one call, on one Zoom or one, Google Meet, and they're listening to the other person's call live from a past call. And they're analyzing it together. Hey, what could you do better? What could you do this? I'm a very good at, some advice for me, if you're doing this with your team, is let the person that heard the call or did the call that you guys are all listening. Again, there's 5 people. or listening to a call that might have happened last week, the person that was making the call, let them give themselves feedback first before anyone else does, so that doesn't dilute their feedback, right? Oh, yeah, I did. If you give feedback as the director and before they even give feedback, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I agree. I should have done that. Well, what I want is I want to hear them. And this goes for lead managers. It goes for really any other trainings you do with your team. Give them feedback. Again, I let Tim say, hey, what do you think you could have done better? Then I let other AMs come. And then me at the end, I give my feedback. That way, again, doesn't dilute anyone's idea of what they should get better on. But again, that goes with acquisitions here. I'm trying to keep it going. I know it's a 20-minute video already. Director of title, right? This is transactions. Their job is obviously, once we get a contract, is to clear the title and get it ready to set up to close. That's it. That's their job, right? So that's Melanie right now. She's accountable for all this: set up closings, clean title, get payoffs, obtain testimonials. That's Melanie's actually biggest thing right now. I think we're at like 84 in our major market on testimonials, all 4.8 stars. So very happy with that. This right here, this again, I think you guys kind of understand this, but it's just a clear title. Works with the title companies to clear that title. She gets paid a base, and then also and she gets paid per deal. It's not much. And when I say not much, it's all relative, right? But I think it's like $100 a deal that she'll get paid as well. That she closes. So on from there, I think this job role, though, just to give you an idea, I think you can find someone here for the mid 5 figures. And if they're really good, and which you always want someone really good, probably up to the 6-figure mark. If someone that has a lot of experience. Director of IS, investment sales, or DISPO, right? We sell all our deals. How we sell them is via the market most of the time. Right now, that director is Brad, and Brad's job is capitalize as much revenue as possible for the team, right? His job is to sell the deals that we lock up. So he does have an assistant that lists all the deals on the market for us. She sends email and text blasts to off-market buyers, sends to hedge funds, document RSVP. This is an hourly rate job. It's from Nicaragua, Karen. Very good. But again, Brad is responsible, accountable for her. We have a project manager, but it's really someone for us. We don't do a lot of flips, but if we do buy something, we need someone to go out there and take its pics and inspection. Or get an inspector to go out there, turn utilities out, clean out the property, quote for repairs if we do any work, and then manage the labor that goes out and cleans out the properties. Usually that's what we do, guys. We just literally, if we do buy a property, which is probably 20% of the time or less, is we're going to buy it and it's clean it out and then list it immediately on the MLS. That's it. We don't do much work on them. Never was good at that. Never want to really get good at that, to be honest. And maybe I'll hire someone to do that, but not right now. We're just moving quick. Cleaning out, getting them up. And he's also takes a lot of the pictures into Georgia properties. If he lives in Georgia, so if we have properties in Georgia that we're under contract, he'll go out and get the pictures for us. And then investment sales. It's what we kind of talked about already. This is where we sell the deals. These people are in charge of selling the deals, right? Seller deals, seller relations. They're the main point of contact with the seller. We do it different than some people. They're the main point of contact with the seller after the AM locks them up. The acquisitions lock it up. Their job is underwrite, offer generate, buyer and seller negotiations. Sometimes we need price reductions. When we are virtual, we lock everything up over the phone. When a seller comes in person, when we go in person to see the house and that the house is nothing like the seller explained it was, which happens more than at times than we want. In some cases, not all, we have to go for a price reduction because the price is no longer the same price we can pay after all those repairs. And then also buyer negotiations. Look, just like it's a sales. I think DISPO is more sales than acquisitions, to be honest. You're really selling the deal. Like you're selling this deal and really trying to get buyers to pay as much money as possible. So they also improve marketing strategy. DISPO on our team, they get a draw coming in, but after that point, they just get commission only. Showing agent. This is again kind of what I was talking about. Their job is to come in there if we have to take pictures in a lockbox. Parker's really the one that manages this. So I have one person here, but I can put Parker's name on here. He's the same gentleman that I'm just gonna leave it like that. He's the same gentleman that's our project manager. If there's stuff out of state he can't get to, he's got to set up people to get pictures and put a lockbox if we can and get access. Which DISPO gets access, but he confirms the access. Manage out of state process for same if non-frosty purchased. Parker's on a lower base and gets incentivized per deal too, similar to Melanie, a little bit more, depending on what kind of deal it is. And here's the only active role I'm in. It probably takes about 2 hours a week. And because again, I'm not doing all this stuff, I'm just accountable for it. So bookkeeping reports, I got a full-time bookkeeper who actually happens to be my executive assistant now. That every day is updating our budget sheet, updating our QuickBooks, and updating our cash flow statement. My job is obviously to get reports or see this stuff, invoices and all this, right? Payroll. Taxes, W-2, W-9. We have no W-2 employees. We do get W-9s for everybody that signs up. And then obviously I got to manage my taxes for the company. Budgets, I'm accountable for it. We already have a budget built out every year, and really even for next year on what we expect to plan with bonuses and cutting expenses. I've challenged again, I'm not doing, all this work. I'm just the one that's accountable for it. So I challenge my executive assistant, cut as much expenses as you see, which ones every month we look at, hey, which ones did we over calculate that we were going to spend and which ones went over, more importantly, and that can we cut those at all? Do we need those? Was it something weird? Like we had to pay a yearly subscription to something instead of, that we only pay one time a year. Okay, that's why that's off. Okay, that's no problem. Blah, 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 blah. Capital raising. I got to keep doing a better job of this. I did a really good job about 3 years ago, and now I got to redo it again. I got to get better at capital raising. So that's one of my initiatives. I'm ready to go into more. And then we have another executive assistant here that helps me out and helps me out. Was Chandler's old executive assistant. For you guys to know, Chandler was a former COO. So since then, she's taken over a lot of responsibilities of hiring people, more of HR, hiring people, targeting people, DMing them on LinkedIn, going on hiring on WizHire, like creating marketing campaigns for people, as well as being executive assistant to almost all the directors. She's kind of the designated executive assistant for, really honed in on Marcus and Jordan on setting them up with whatever they need, whether that's retargeting campaigns or whatever the sort. And then IT, we got Eric on our team that's in Salesforce. He's accountable for it. We have any problems, we go to Eric. He fixes them. He addresses them. He gets in touch with our Salesforce provider and gets it figured out. And so these guys are all hourly based, or hourly, how they get paid. And they're actually all on a base now. All these assistants, both of them live in Spain and one lives in Venezuela. So just to give you an idea where we're at, again, I'm the head of finance. That's my main goal, and I think I'll stay there pretty long. But anyway, guys, I hope that is a breakdown. I know I kind of went fast towards the end, but it's 28 minutes long. I don't want to bore you guys too much. If you guys got questions, I know you probably will. Leave them down below, and I'd love to get to them. Hopefully you guys got some value from this video and look forward for any questions down below.